Good morning, AAE parents. Thank you for joining us this morning for our first AAE Parents and Pastries of the year. We've been holding frequent parent forums when necessary, and we just felt like there's a lot of general information that doesn't warrant a forum that we wanted to be able to share with you ongoing and for the remainder of the school year. So we will be having these once a month. They are typically on the second Friday of each month, and we're moving them till 9 o'clock because we have earlier meetings. Before, they used to be around 8:30 because that's when school started and parents were physically dropping their children off and coming to join us in the gym conference room. And so we hope this time works for you. If it doesn't, let your friends know that this will be recorded. And we just had a parent forum last week, and so a lot of this information you might be familiar with, but we have a lot of other additional information that we want to share with you today. Since everyone's not on Facebook, we are using GoToWebinar. That link was sent out for registration in Infinite Campus parent messages on Wednesday. We also posted it on Facebook today, so look for that format for the remainder of our Parents and Pastries this year to join us on GoToWebinar. So that means that you can send us any questions that you have under the questions feature, and we'll be monitoring those and responding back to you in questions or addressing those orally as we go through our presentation. Of course, at the end, there's also an option, or a time where we devote our time to answering all those questions. And so please continue to put those in all the way up into the end, and we'll go back and look at those when we're finished. So let's get started. I'm Valley Andresen, AAE principal, and with me today as panelists, we have Jeannie Cook, our school counselor. We have Ryan Dorsey, our IT director. We have Humberto Ramos, who will be joining us, who is our athletic director. And we have our wonderful vice principals, elementary vice principal, Dr. Longoria, and secondary vice principal, Mrs. Sally Ritchie. So with that, we'll get started here. So just a little agenda to tell you what we, think we plan to talk about. And so we have some school updates for you. Some of those, again, were shared in Parent Forum or through Infinite Campus, but we wanted to repeat those and give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you might have. Then we'll have our school counselor, Jeannie Cook. She's got some fabulous information for parents. And then we'll have our athletic director, Humberto Ramos, tell us where we're at in sports. And Ryan Dorsey is just going to tell you about some offerings that they're going to have for parents, and he's also here available to answer any questions you might have about IT today. So that last picture was Miss Cambridge, our kindergarten teacher, and it was wonderful to have her. I was able to observe her, and she gave an amazing lesson. I just thought, wow, it doesn't get any better in this in distance learning. And so we are so proud with all of the hard work and effort and determination that our staff has put into making distance learning successful. We're grateful to you, our partners in the home, for all of your hard work and efforts to help your child be successful. And we look forward to bringing kids back in hybrid and being able to do both hybrid and full distance learning for the remainder of the year. So that's Lisa and I showing our physical distancing the other day. Lisa Lamb is our CEO and president of the Lewis Center. So we'll start with school updates. And I am going to turn some time over to Dr. Lisa Longoria to cover the next couple slides. And Lisa, I'm going to try to make you an organizer. And Ryan, if I'm not successful doing that, can you move her from panelist to organizer?
Good morning, everyone. I am so excited to be here with you this morning. Return to in-person instruction. The A lot of the same is going to be occurring this time around. We want to go over some important dates for you. So next Tuesday, after our 3-day weekend, we will be bringing back our special education small cohorts. And those students and their families have already been notified what days they are to be coming on campus. The following week, Monday morning, we are welcoming back all of TK through 5th grade in their stable groupings A and B. Now, middle school, high school, we can't wait to see you, but that is going to determine, that date for return will be determined by our county entering the substantial, or also known as red tier. We still have to follow the blueprint from our state and local Department of Health. So let's talk a moment for TK5 Return to Hybrid Learning. Like I said, we will see you in a week from Monday. Same time, 8 a.m. to 12 noon. The gates will be open at 7:30 for breakfast, and we will start our day at 8 a.m. We're going to have the same stable groupings that we had last time. So you're either in cohort A coming on Mondays and Tuesdays, or you're in cohort B coming Thursdays and Fridays. Or maybe you're in our full distance learning cohort where you are attending through Zoom all 5 days. It's the same rosters as last fall. And so if you were in A, you're still in A. If you were in full distance, you're still in full distance. If that changes, please give us a call. Mrs. Pearson is available at extension 302 to help you with those changes or answer any questions that you might have. Maybe you forgot what your cohort was. We're happy to help you with that. And as always, our goal is to be open for our kiddos. And so we hope that we can stay open for the remainder of the school year, unless we are directed by our public health officials to do otherwise. So we're welcoming you back. We're happy to have you. Please bring those iPads fully charged and ready to go. That is a huge help. We know how much battery is taken by Zoom and some of the other fun apps that we use. So please do us a favor and have those devices fully charged.
Thank you, Lisa. Sally, would you give our parents some additional information they'll need to know for in-person instruction?
I'd be happy to. One of the things we need to make sure that we're doing is the Department of Public Health has had opportunity to do some new studies and find out that some of the things we had done in the past are not as effective as we thought initially. So we will not be doing temperature checks here at school for our students. They have determined that the mitigating factors that are the most important to prevent the spread is to always wear a face covering. Now, in the past, we asked students to bring their own face coverings. We also have face coverings available here that are kid-sized. We want you to know if you've forgotten your mask, don't worry about it. We've got you covered. Another thing we're going to be doing is maintaining our stable groups. Now, with the stable groups, what is most important about that, they were previously referred to as cohorts, but what we're going to be doing with our stable groups is they stay together all day long. That means that they have to stay together for recess, they stay together for breakfast, in class, anything like that, so that we are able to also keep our physical distancing. The most important thing we found last fall was that we cannot at recess have our stable groups combined. So if you would mention that to your students, that would be greatly appreciated. We're going to be enforcing physical distancing once we return. If you were not in hybrid in the fall and you would like to join us for hybrid now, we need you to go into Infinite Campus and fill out the risk assumption form. Now, if you have any difficulty finding that, just give us a call. Also, we will be reposting our videos on our website and Facebook for drop-off, pickup, and our traffic patterns. So what can you do at home as far as daily health screenings? Okay, COVID-19 symptoms include or can include a fever or chills, a cough, shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, fatigue, muscle or body aches, a headache, a new loss of taste or smell, a sore throat, congestion or runny nose, nausea or vomiting, or diarrhea. So, in an abundance of caution, if your child is experiencing any of these symptoms, however mild, let's stay home and keep everyone safe. If your child has shortness of breath, but they have asthma, that would not necessarily be considered a COVID symptom. Your child should be fine to come to school. When in doubt, keep them home. Thank you again for making everybody safe.
Thank you, Sally. I wanted to point out about the risk assumption forms, that those need to be assigned by us first in Infinite Campus Parent Portal. And so they might not be in there today, but you will find those by next week. And those do need to be in place if you're new by the start of school, the first week. If they don't have them the first day, we can call you, but after that, the child would be excluded from in-person attendance. If your child does have any of these symptoms and does remain home, our classes are set up so well that they have the same teacher who is doing both groups, both in person and doing synchronous live instruction at home, and distance learning for students. So if your child's too ill to come to school or has a symptom, they can still participate through distance learning on their day that they would have been here in person. So just wanted to, let's use this. There we go. I wanted to just share with you some upcoming events. Just a reminder that next Monday, this coming Monday, is the President's Day holiday. There is no school on that day. We have a blood drive that's coming up that went out in Infinite Campus. The information for that, it is going to be held next Wednesday, February 17th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And there are shortages. We hope that you'll be able to donate and help with that crisis that we have of a lack of blood donations at this time because of COVID. We do have the landing of the Perseverance, the Mars rover, on Thursday, February 18th. It's a Wear Red Spirit Day, and our students are going to have a wonderful opportunity to view that. It actually occurs around lunchtime at the end of our classes, in-person classes, and so your students will be receiving a link for that from their teachers so that they can participate outside of our school day. We have elementary parent-teacher conferences coming up, and you should be receiving notification of that next Tuesday on the 16th. And so you can get more information from your child's teacher. So with that, I have some other things to share, but I'm going to jump in over and switch over to our counseling department. Jeannie, would you please share with us wait, one more thing, NPR. Just want to have a quick picture in here that I took this morning. It's just amazing to watch the progress that's being made on the construction of our new NPR. It's beautiful. I've sent out pictures of the windows that open up on the side to our wetlands, and we're so excited to have this. And what great timing with COVID that we'll have this for our lunches, that will allow for our more physical distancing. So we'll be keeping one cohort, grade level cohort, during a lunch period in the multi-purpose room, one in the outside dining area, one in gymateria. And so we look forward to the completion of this. It is on track to be completed and ready for occupancy in May. So with that, Jeannie, would you please share with us your updates on counseling?
Good morning, everybody. Happy to see everybody again. I know it's been a little bit, but I wanted to give everyone some updates for academics and for mental health. First, starting with middle school, high school, I want to remind all parents that their students should be attending to their daily homeroom every morning, 8 a.m., Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's Very, very important, especially at the high school level, that students are attending their homeroom from 8 to 8:20. Many are enrolled in specialized math support homerooms where they can get additional help. So please, if you have a high schooler, check with them to make sure that they are attending homeroom. I also want to remind parents that all high school teachers and I believe all middle school teachers are offering tutoring and office hours on Wednesdays for additional support. Your students should be reaching out to their teachers if they need additional support. Some teachers are by appointment only, so they should be checking with those teachers that they need support with. We'll be reaching out next month regarding summer school. I know seems like a little early to be thinking about summer already, but this summer school options will be somewhat limited. So we are encouraging all of our families, if they have students who need to attend summer school, to register early in order to secure their spot in the summer school programs. We will be reaching out the first week of March to each family if your child is required to attend summer school. We will be reaching out to you and letting you know the process for enrolling your child in summer school. If you are notified that your child needs to attend summer school, you should reserve the month of July for summer school. If your child is attending Options for Youth, they will be allowed to get their work early in June, and they will be working asynchronously. We are still in the decision-making process for our summer school here at AAE, and further information will be coming out in March once a decision's been made. For my class of 2021 senior parents, I'm happy to announce that we had a great success with our Adopt a Senior program. Every single senior of the class of 2021 was adopted by an AAE staff member. So if you're the parent of a senior, your child should have been contacted by now by the person who's adopted them. And I want to say a huge thanks to all of the staff at AAE who really stepped up and made sure that every senior is feeling special. Cal Grants. Every single senior should have received a letter from the California Student Aid Commission sometime between December and January. It comes in a pretty nondescript envelope, so it might have been tossed, hopefully not. If it did, don't stress. Your students can go on the Web Grants for Students website. I left a link in there, and they can set up an account and they can see their Cal Grant status. FAFSA, the free application for student aid, students should have completed their 21-22 FAFSA by March 2nd. I've reached out to every family. If your child does not have a FAFSA on file with the California Student Aid Commission, I've reached out to you by email to let you know if there is something more that needs to be done. I encourage every single family to complete the FAFSA, even if you don't think your student will be eligible for federal financial aid. You still need to complete a FAFSA if you plan on using student loans or Parent Plus loans to finance your child's education. You also need to submit a FAFSA if your child is going to VVC and plans on taking advantage of the free college tuition at VVC. And that brings us to the VVC Bridge program, which is still available to all seniors. In the state of California, all high school graduates can now go to VVC or any California community college tuition free for 2 years, regardless of family income. The only requirement is that you have a FAFSA on file. I encourage students to reach out to me if they haven't already to discuss this program. We have the VVC Bridge program that we work in conjunction with VVC to ensure that we help the students complete all the matriculation steps in order to enroll at VVC. And they do get early access to registration. So if they're interested, please feel free to reach out to me.
And Jeannie, before I advance to the next slide, I just want to tell you how much I am, so how happy I am that we're able to have Parents and Pastries and have you be sharing this valuable information with our parents. I know that you keep great contact with all of our students, and I think this is great to share this valuable information with our parents. I just have one note for the class of 2021 seniors. We are scheduling senior photos and on campus, and as soon as we have those dates and times, we'll let you know so that your child can make an appointment. We're hoping to get that accomplished before spring break.
Okay, for our class of 2022 parents or parents of juniors, you should have received an email from me this week regarding SAT and ACT test prep. Traditionally, the spring of the junior year is when students begin preparing to take the SAT or ACT, and they should be taking their first attempt at the test sometime this spring. There's test dates in March, May, and June. Right now, colleges and universities are all over the board on their testing requirements. I've included a link here on the slide for a Google Doc that I maintain with the latest and greatest information on school requirements. It's basically the top 25, 30 schools that AAE students typically apply to, and it gives the most up-to-date information on their SAT and ACT requirements. So I encourage all parents of juniors to check that document out and check it out regularly, and we will be updating it as things change. Typically every spring we have an in-person SAT boot camp that is presented in conjunction with Cal State San Bernardino. Fortunately, due to COVID, we are unable to provide this in-person boot camp this year. However, in my email to parents and students this week, I included a variety of test prep resources to help your child get prepared to take the SAT and ACT. 21-22 course requests, just so that is on everybody's radar. Students in grades 8 through 11 will make their course requests in April. If you'd like to schedule a meeting with me prior to that to discuss your child's courses for next year, feel free to reach out to me by email. Parents of juniors will be receiving a letter in the mail the 1st of March, which will give you each parent an update on their child's graduation status and progress towards graduation, along with my recommendation of courses for the senior year. So be looking in your mailbox around March 1st for that letter to be coming in the mail, class of 2022 parents. I also wanted to take some time to talk about mental health resources. As we all know, mental health, students are really struggling these days, struggling with feelings of anxiety, depression, and such. And I know as parents, we want to support our children as best we can. So I wanted to give some additional resources that parents can utilize. Below are a few apps that are recommended. Again, these are not apps that are designed to be a substitution for professional evaluation or care of your student, but these are ways that apps that can help students manage feelings of anxiety or depression. Headspace and Calm are two of the most popular. They include guided meditations, calming sounds. Clear Fear is an app designed for those struggling with feelings of anxiety. Calm Harm is an app designed for students who may struggle with self-harm. And Virtual Hope Box is an app designed just to help increase positivity and give kids hope and give people in general hope. So these are great apps that you can feel comfortable using with your students, again, though they are not a substitution for professional evaluation or care. We're happy to partner with the Desert Mountain SELPA to provide a new mental health concierge service called Solus. Anyone who's tried to navigate the healthcare system to secure mental health services knows how difficult that can be. Solus is there to take that difficulty out. They are a concierge service, so they will actually do all the heavy lifting for you. If you are in need of mental health services for you or your family, what we do is we put in a referral to Solus, and a concierge member will reach out to you. Take your information, get your insurance information. They will help contact your insurance and then identify local area providers. They will basically work with you the whole process of identifying providers, securing appointments, navigating the insurance process. So it's kind of a one-stop shop. I've put the link in there. It's caresolus.com/AAE, or they have a direct 800 number, or you can reach out to me and I can help and get that process rolling for you. The school counseling team here at AAE is also offering short-term one-on-one counseling services to students. We do make referrals to outside providers for long-term clinical counseling services, but we can do short-term, and short-term is usually anywhere from 2 to 6 sessions with a student. Anything longer than that is considered long-term and would be considered clinical counseling. And so we can make referrals to outside counseling if we need to. So don't hesitate to reach out. We do have a school counseling intern this semester, Mrs. Virginia Mendoza, who's helping us out with the elementary and middle school students. So if you have an elementary student who you feel may benefit from some short-term counseling, one-on-one, maybe they're struggling with feelings of anxiety or not quite sure, how things are going right now, we can provide additional assistance for you and your child through our school counseling intern as well. And last but not least, I hope no family ever finds themselves in a situation where they need crisis resources, but I want to make sure all families are aware of the local resources we have. If your family member finds themselves in a mental health crisis, first is the crisis text line. This you can text home to 741-741. This is great for anyone who may feel that they are in need, those struggling with feelings of anxiety, depression, who just need to talk to someone and who may not want to talk in person. The crisis text line is a great way to get support. As always, I want to provide the suicide prevention lifeline, 1-800-273-TALK. If a family member is in crisis, please don't hesitate to use that number. We also have local area crisis resources. We have the community crisis response team. If you have a family member in acute mental health crisis, you can call the numbers there, and they will send a local team to your home to evaluate your family member. There is the Crisis Walk-In Center operated by Valley Star High Desert that is located on Hesperia Road in the Dee Dee's Discounts Shopping Center off Hesperia Road in Bear Valley. That center is staffed 24/7, and you can walk in at any time if you or a family member is having an acute mental health crisis. And also, as always, we have the Desert Mountain Children's Center, which provides counseling service. And if need be, any local emergency room if you or a family member is experiencing a mental health crisis. So just want to make sure everybody has those resources. As always, I'm here to support your family and your students in any way. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm at extension 112. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jeannie. Next up, I think we have our athletic director who's going to be letting you know where we are with sports and athletics. Humberto?
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you see me? I don't. I'm a little confused.
I don't know if we can see anybody right now. Ryan, are we have our videos up for our participants, our attendees, or?
Yep, I can see everybody. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
There's Humberto.
I was just a little confused. I'm so used to the Zoom, so I was looking at all the controls.
A new platform. Now we know how our kids feel, right? We'll switch back and forth and are consistent. We're always having to learn something new. Go ahead.
All right. So good morning, everyone. So there was an announcement sent out this morning to all high school parents and students, letting you guys know briefly on where we stand with sports. We have made an official announcement to cancel all of fall sports, simply because we are in mid-February at this point. So just to keep pushing back, and fall sports ending in March, we didn't feel it was enough time to really have a season. And we also wanted to prioritize having some of our students back on campus, such as our elementary students. So at this time, we will be moving forward and bringing back student athletes for spring sports. So that is some good news for us. And currently, we are going to be doing just the sports that are being allowed under the state's tiered system. So what I have here is briefly a quick explanation for you guys. I know the announcement I sent out was geared towards specifically the sports that are being allowed. So the purple tier, which we are doing signups at this time. The sign-up link is on the announcement that was sent out this morning. And that will be boys and girls tennis and boys and girls track and field. And then the red tier sports would be baseball and softball. So in anticipation that we do move into that red tier here within the next couple of weeks or few weeks from now, we do want to have our team set. We want them to be practicing already. So we are going to be doing signups for that as well. Okay, so you will find that same link on that announcement. Now, as far as the other sports such as soccer, basketball, and cheer, it's not to say that they're not going to happen. It's just a lot is still up in the air for us. Again, this is not a CIF call. It's not a school call. This is more on what the county or the state guidelines have told us we can or cannot do. So when it comes to something like soccer, soccer would be the orange tier. If we happen to move into the red tier, or when we move into the red tier, at that time, administration and I will obviously look at where the county stands as far as cases go. And if we determine it's safe to bring back soccer, we will do a sign up for soccer as well. And then we'll, given that there's enough time left in the school year to save the season, we'll go ahead, have sign ups, we'll try to save the season. And that is something that myself and the other athletic directors of the Cross Valley League have talked about, that, it is our intention to push back the start date as much as we can to try to save some of these seasons. So same thing will apply to basketball and cheer. These two fall under the yellow tier, which is the lowest tier right now. And that's because it is considered an indoor sport. Okay, so that is further away for us, but with the trending numbers, we do hope that maybe we'll eventually be able to achieve that. So same thing will apply. If we hit the orange tier, then at that point, we'll look at the numbers again. If we've determined that we can bring back basketball and cheer, then that's how we'll bring them back at that point. But other than that, at this time, we're only going to focus on the sports that are currently allowed. So that'll be tennis, track, baseball, and softball. Okay. And I will be sending out more announcements here in the next week or so. That way you guys are up to date with everything that's going on. Everything's going to move a lot faster now that we are going to have sports back. And with signups going on, I'll be sending out more information as far as tryouts, practices, all those things will start coming out a lot sooner. And some of these things are just depending on when our competition starts. So for example, tennis is the first sport that is starting to compete mid-March. So we will prioritize bringing tennis back as soon as possible, whereas something like baseball, softball, they're not going to compete until April, mid-April. So we want to focus on bringing back what we need to as soon as possible, and then we'll go from there. Okay. And then I will be sending out another announcement breaking down all the tiers, but the announcement I sent out earlier today, I wanted it to focus on just the sports that are allowed so we can get everyone signed up, get everyone moving as far as submitting your physicals. It gives me time to start academically clearing all the students that are signing up, and then we can get all that going.
Thank you, Humberto. We greatly appreciate you. We know that you've worked hard to and kept up on, what we could do, and you've met with me regularly so we could, bring back athletics as soon as possible. And this is hopefully going to happen finally now this spring. And kudos to you. If you don't know, Mr. Ramos teaches PE classes. He normally has an assistant to help him with all that paperwork, such as collecting those, physicals and doing those grade checks. And he did not have one this year because we knew we wouldn't have sports for a while. And so he's doing that all on his own at this time. And we appreciate all the time and work that you're putting into getting our student athletes back. Okay. So with that, I think, Mr. Dorsey, do you want to tell everyone about what we have coming up for us in regards to parent trainings?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, so very soon we're going to be finalizing those dates this week, and we should have that information out to you. We're going to be offering some Wednesday lunchtime IT professional development opportunities for you to see what your student sees in Google Classroom, as well as Infinite Campus. We really want to drive usage of Infinite Campus so that you're in there checking your students' grades, as well as attendance and any notes that your teachers may have sent. So during that Infinite Campus training, we'll be showing you about the web portal as well as the app that you can put on your phone, so you always have your students' information with you wherever you go. So look for those very soon. I think we'll be finalizing those today, Tuesday Valley. Sound about right?
Yes, I was looking back on our notes, Ryan. I make these commitments. It's like, what did we say we were going to do?
Yeah, I know. So many notes.
thought about it, doing it as early as next Wednesday, the 17th. I don't know if that gives us time to, with the 3-day weekend, to let parents know. So we will
Yeah,
get up
and
to
I
you.
also do want to let you know, if you have a specific area that you'd like to see us cover, please reach out. You can reach us at the help desk, Valley, Sally, Dr. Longoria, any of us. If you just let us know a specific area that you'd like us to cover, we'd be more than happy to answer those questions. And I'm sure if you have those questions, other parents do as well.
And so you're so wonderful. We appreciate our IT department and crew so much. They've been amazing. They've been really busy lately getting into the classrooms, especially particularly elementary, and we got new TV stands up to put on these large 55-inch displays so that teachers can see the students in distance learning as well as their students in person without sitting in front of their device, and be teaching in a hybrid model that way. And we appreciate all the work that they've done all year long, getting devices out, fixing them. I know they're always available. So here's another opportunity to gain some important information that will benefit you, not just now, but through your years of working with your students at home and school. So
And we are always available too. If you call into the school, we're extension 435 to reach our help desk, or you can email us at that address as well, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
So this will be great. They'll give you these short lesson trainings in these areas, and then they'll also be able to answer your questions right there. So look for those dates and times, and join us for those IT parent trainings if you're available. Okay. With that, I think that's all we had prepared, and I have not been monitoring the questions. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And if anybody has answered a question in the box to an individual and not to everyone, would you please unmute and share any answers you've given that might be of interest to our attendees today?
We currently have no questions listed.
We have one question in the question box, and I'll read it. If we have to continue doing hybrid into next school year, will you consider having one specific teacher for the kids that will stay distant learning? It would be so great to just have one teacher focused on the distant learners.
I will take that. So that has happened in some districts. We thought this year that it was a benefit for students to have less change and to be able to remain with the same teacher. For an example, I spoke earlier about, like, if you do a home health screening and find your child has mild symptoms, they can just jump into that teacher's hybrid or distance learning synchronous class, right, from home, and without missing any time. And so we agree, teachers, it's hard to multitask and do both. Like I said, this setup, when it's used and when we effectively, we think that it will work for our teachers and our students. I'll tell you what the problem is. So, say we're a smaller school, we're not a large district where you can just assign someone across the board to do first grade distance learning. Another option is some schools are assigning a software program, like your child just under a teacher's supervision does something like Edgenuity. We just see the value in them having that interaction and connection with a teacher for their lessons on a daily basis. And if we take our 4 per grade level elementary students, our teachers, and if we take one of them away, who are the experts in that grade level and teaching it, and have them just do distance learning, we are unable within the remaining 3 classes to maintain the cohort sizes. So we're still under you can only have 14 students. So if out of 100 first grade students, 70, I'm hoping it gets like 80% want to be in person or hybrid, it's impossible to keep those small cohorts without that 4th teacher. Also, when we moved to middle school, high school, there is one 6th grade science teacher. There is one 8th grade math teacher. You know, they have to do both students in person and in full distance learning or distance learning. So our goal is to actually, you know, get our students back, you know, full days as much as possible by next year. But yes, is full distance learning because of the pandemic likely to be an option here, you know, and we're never going to say we're just a full seat-based program, and, you know, if that's not meeting your needs, go elsewhere. We're hoping that we can work with you and offer a quality program for both students in person and learning from home. Does that help? Anybody else have any comments from the staff? That was a great question.
We have another question, Valley. It's for Mrs. Cook. Will you continue having lunchtime with 6th graders?
During the months of November and December, we were having our noon lunch bunch once a week for middle school. Unfortunately, it was discontinued because of a lack of participation. We were down to only 2 students. If students are interested in starting up a 6th grade lunch bunch again, I am more than happy to go ahead and do that. So if you're the parent of a middle school student, feel free to reach out to me and let me know that your student's interested, and I would be happy to start that up again.
And then the final question I see is, what percentage of students are hybrid? And I'm guessing it's just in elementary because we're all full distance in middle school, high school.
Correct. So we are getting an increase. We shared at Parent Forum that we most likely there will not be another opportunity to come back or make a choice for families to come back to hybrid for the remainder of the year. Because again, we've said we'll do that when we have a phase change or when we you know, have a grading period in. So we're coming up on the end of the 2nd trimester for elementary. So we won't have that opportunity to make changes again. Again, we're trying to keep those stable groups, you know, as a COVID mitigating factor. And we don't want to be bringing in randomly, you know, students whenever. So we want to make our groups, stay in those groups. So we have had approximately 20 parents contact us this week and tell us that they want to go from full distance learning to hybrid. Because if you're in hybrid, you always have the option to go back to full distance learning. If your situation at home changes or, you know, you have that opportunity and choice. But this is the last opportunity we'll have to choose hybrid probably for TK5 for the remainder of the year, because we don't anticipate, unfortunately, being able to like start doing a full day program, because again, we don't have the NPR and other issues. So we were at about 70%. Again, I think we're going to be approaching 75%, perhaps 80% that will be in hybrid learning for the remainder of the year here at AAE for elementary.
The next question is, can you remind us what tier we need to be in for students to be full-time again, and the requirements for the state for that to happen?
For elementary, we could be full-time if we could manage the cohorting and stable groups and the physical distancing. Again, one big hang up right now would be lunchtime. Again, we don't have the ability to physically distance our kids for a lunchtime or supervise them during the time. They'd have to be in their teachers' classrooms, which we can't. Teachers need a break, right? You know, it's not as safe because everybody has their masks off, you know, and we can't supervise multiple separate classrooms otherwise. And so we just do not see the ability to bring our students back full time. Again, we have that waiver, and as long as you had a plan and all your mitigation in place, you could design whatever program you wanted. We were unable to do a half day, 2 days a week to keep follow all the safety and health guidelines.
And the last question that I see is, any information for nights in training for next school year for next year's TK program, and what that may look like based on information we have now? I'm assuming That means the tiny nights in training, because TK is a little bit different from the kindergarten nights in training. And we had our first session for nights in training for incoming kindergarten last Thursday. And so I think this is in relation to the tiny nights program.
Okay, do you want to speak to that since you're the expert elementary administrator? And you can tell what we've done in the past, and Becky is returning, so we have the wonderful Miss Becky Cobalt teaching that class again next year.
So I, like many parents right now, am working with my child right next to me. So please pardon the noise, everyone. I'm right there with you, though. So the Tiny Nights program, working with Miss Becky Cobalt, she is going to be working with my office and her. We are going to be contacting those students directly. So Tiny Nights program looks a little bit different from regular nights in training, and we will be in contact with you very soon. Probably expect to hear from us after spring break.
Thank you, Lisa. I forgot that you had those circumstances. No wonder you're so willing to let us lead and answer questions. I appreciate it.
We can review phonics together in Parents and Pastries. Who wants to practice with us? So if you're wondering that, if we don't understand how hard it is to do distance learning while you're full-time working, we get it. We get it, and we're right there with you.
Thank you. So Lisa, I assume that was the last question. We haven't had any added, and so we want to thank everybody for joining us today and everybody that participated on this panel. I'm proud to be part of this rock star team that's working tirelessly to, make distance learning successful and to get your kids back in school. We're hoping to have some good news for middle school, high school, and get into that red tier. You have to be in it for 2 weeks before you can open up, so keep monitoring those numbers. Some people are pessimistic and are saying, oh, it's not going to happen, and then I'll hear a public health official from the county say, oh yeah, we're trending, it's coming. And so hopefully they're correct. So thank you, everyone. We hope you enjoy your 3-day holiday weekend with your families, and we'll see our elementary students that have chosen hybrid back on campus on Monday, the 22nd. Thank you. Goodbye.